In this installment, we have a doubleheader for Monday Night Football, 2 in-division matchups between the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we got another matchup between the Carolina Panthers going up against the New Orleans Saints. Let's get into this Draftkings Monday Night Football slate. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for our Monday Night Football showdown slate we got going on for this Monday. Double header here, 2 in-division matchups, highly anticipated. But before I deep dive into that, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon. I'm going to touch on that very soon. But we are on the homepage right here. Guys, we are at 1.4 thousand subscribers. Our goal is 2K to get there. Hopefully we get there right before the playoffs. Let's continue to push and excel. I'm going to continue to give you non-stop content on the showdowns and DFS slates, all right? If you have any other suggestions, let me know in that comment section down below, and we can figure this thing out, all right? I'm going to keep giving you top-notch analysis on these breakdowns, all right? Guys, now, for the Patreon, you still have time. Tomorrow is Sunday. You still have time if you want the best bets for Sunday. Throughout the whole entire day, you still have time to sign up. Go to that link provided down below. We're going to kick things off at that quarterback position here. And hey, look, we got 4 choices here. You got Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr, Bryce Young, and Kenny Pickett. Right now, for that quarterback, we're looking at 2 guys here. Deshaun Watson has elite upside in this Monday night slate. Obviously, he did very well in a poor matchup against Cincinnati. Dirty weather, everything was horrible, all right? But he still came through with 21 fantasy points. The key component here with Deshaun Watson, despite the fact he only threw for 154 yards and an interception, it's that rushing upside. He is providing what we saw in Houston Texans, okay? He's bringing that over to the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, it's going to take some time for him to really excel with that passing game, but the rushing is still there. 5 attempts, 45 yards, and a touchdown. That is very huge to have, and that's what we want on this Monday Night Football slate, all right? If you want to find a gem, I think there's going to be another way where we can differentiate in our lineup builds in this 2-game slate, but you don't fade someone that's in a really good spot here against Pittsburgh, who obviously struggled against the 49ers. That secondary was picked apart, and now Deshaun Watson has an opportunity to take advantage of this secondary as well, all right? The next quarterback we're going to be looking at will be Derek Carr. Derek Carr is going to be against the Carolina Panthers here, all right? Carolina is decent in the secondary department. They did lose their top corner here in J.C. Horn, so that's going to benefit Derek Carr and his wide receiver core that he has, and he has a very dynamic 3 wide receivers that he can go towards. So I like Derek Carr. If you want to pivot off Deshaun Watson, go towards Derek Carr. He has 3 gems in there. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, as long as he's healthy, and Rashid Shaheed can take the top off of any defense. So if you want to go that route, Derek Carr is at 6,000. I definitely want to have lineups with both of these guys, all right? And if you want to punt the QB spot, I'm not playing Bryce Young. I do not like the situation that they have right now with the pass catchers on the Carolina Panthers. We're going to stay away from that. Kenny Pickett will be your last hope if you really want to set yourself apart. Not a lot of people are going to go this route. We saw how strong the Cleveland Browns defense was, but if you're desperate, if you want to be a little bit different, maybe you want to do a Steelers Cleveland stack, and instead of Deshaun, you go Kenny. You could be creative with that, but this is a very desperate play here. Kenny Pickett, I will go towards him. He did lose Deontay Johnson, but they still have some decent wide receivers behind him. George Pickens is obviously a very dynamic wide receiver. Allen Robinson is going to need to step up, and they have Calvin Austin, who is very electric. So if you want to go that route, save some salary, and get away from some ownership, Kenny Pickett could be your guy. Let's move on to the running backs. At the running back position, we're going to start at the top, and that is Nick Chubb. All right, we saw what Christian McCaffrey did to this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Nick Chubb can do the very same, and he's providing some upside here in the receiving department. Since Kareem Hunt is gone, it is all on Nick Chubb, and they're giving Jerome Ford just a little bit of touches. All right, right now it is all Nick Chubb. You want to take full advantage of that. He did that against the Bengals, 18 carries, 106 yards. He's just efficient every single year. So Nick Chubb is a guy that you want to smash and have in every one of your lineups there at 8,500. I understand what I said. You understand what I'm saying. Nick Chubb in every freaking lineup. All right. If we're going towards some other secondary guys, I do not like Najee Harris in a timeshare. It's pretty much 50-50 down the line between him and Jaylen Warren. And Jaylen Warren is more explosive and a better pass catcher. So I'm going to fade Najee Harris at 6,200. Jamal Williams can be in play going up against Carolina. Carolina got a nice dose of the running game from Atlanta over and over and over again. Jamal Williams is not that effective like Algier or Bijan Robinson, but this is a guy on the Saints who's going to get the majority of touches. All right, he's going to see 20 touches a game until Alvin Kamara comes back. We're going to see on news about Kendre Miller. Right now, he has a Q tag. He did get a limited practice in on Friday, but right now, Jamal Williams, if you want some, not even some upside, just like a decent floor, but he's going to get a whole bunch of touches. You need him to get in the end zone to really pay off. Then you can go that route for the New Orleans Saints and Jamal Williams. All right, next guy we can consider will be Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders on the other side of this ball. Carolina's going to need the running game for them to stay alive in this game against the New Orleans Saints. They cannot rely upon Bryce Young taking every snap and throwing the ball. No, they need to rely on the running game. Miles Sanders, you just got paid. You need to step up, and you can't fumble the football. All right, but this is a guy just like Jamal Williams is going to see 20+ touches. So if I'm choosing between Sanders or Jamal Williams, I'm going with Miles Sanders here. I think he's the better running back, clearly. More explosiveness, and is the better catcher out of the two. All right, so you see he was targeted 6 times on 4 and had 4 receptions. So I like the upside here with Miles Sanders. I like him at 5,700. We'll keep him in our lineups. And then finally, if we're punting the running back position, I'm going to go with the better guy in the duo here on the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is Jaylen Warren. If things get out of hand, Jaylen Warren is going to be a guy that's going to be receiving that football. As you can see, he had a few carries, 3 for 6, but the receiving department, this is where he's the big beneficiary here. 5 receptions, 6 targets. You want more yards from that, but obviously it was a tough matchup against the 49ers, and they were just getting a whole bunch of check down catches. I like Jaylen Warren in this game here at 4,800, especially if things get out of hand. Save some salary there at 4,800. Let's go on to the wide receivers. At the wide receiver position, how am I gonna do this? We go with stacks, but we're gonna make sure we bring it back with the right guys. That's how I'm gonna do it. So with the first quarterback I talked about, it was Deshaun Watson. So we're gonna look at some of the Cleveland guys. I'm gonna go through each and every team and show you the guys that are gonna be the best value and get away from all the chalk. So with Cleveland, you do have Amari Cooper here at 6,100, but he is questionable with a groin injury. So he's not going to be fully 100%. He could be out there as a decoy, but definitely someone I would not fully trust. All right. I think in this offense, if you look at that box score, as you can see, Amari Cooper had 7 targets, but another guy on that team, the guy that they traded for, Elijah Moore, had 7 targets as well, and he was utilized in the rushing department. All right. They understand how explosive Elijah Moore is, and they're willing to utilize him in a multiple of facets. All right. If you remember Elijah Moore's rookie season, they're taking that high potential and bringing him over to Cleveland Browns, pairing him with Deshaun Watson. Sky is the limit for Elijah Moore this year, and I think he emerges as the number 1 wide receiver on this team, okay? Especially targets, all right? He's going to be a guy that's going to be doing a lot of short and intermediate things, creating in space, and really providing potential yards after the catch, all right? If I want to pair my favorite Cleveland Brown wide receiver with Deshaun Watson, it's going to be Elijah Moore. If we're looking at someone else a little bit cheaper, I think Donovan Peoples-Jones has a lot of upside as well at 3,700. Do not sleep on this man. It was a bad weather game in Cincinnati. This is a guy that can stretch the field. He has 6'3", 6'4" size with speed combination. I love DPJ as a punt play at that wide receiver spot as well. All right. If we're going to bring it back, all right, we talked about Elijah Moore. We talked about Donovan Peoples-Jones. If we're going to bring it back, you can consider George Pickens. George Pickens is going to be a little more chalky there at 5,400. All right. He's going to have to be the number one wide receiver right now as long as Deontay Johnson is out. All right, let's see if they're going to expand his route tree for this game so he can get some easier catches. That's going to be the key to George Pickens. But a guy that I think that's going to get the majority of receptions is going to be Allen Robinson. I think Allen Robinson is very sneaky in this slate at 4,300 and has a very nice connection already with Kenny Pickett. All right, I expect this team to be down, and they're going to be throwing that ball at a high clip. So, Allen Robinson in a bounce back season here, he's going to be a guy I'm going to go towards and bring it back with at 4,300. I do have another player for Pittsburgh, but we're going to get to that position a little bit later. Calvin Austin is a guy that's going to get cheap snaps, cheap work as well. He's a guy similar to Elijah Moore that does a lot of gadget stuff, all right? Short, intermediate screens. He's very explosive, and he does play special teams. So if you do want to go that route here at 3,500, I like Calvin Austin as a flex play right there. So we got two $3,000 guys. You got Calvin Austin and you got Donovan Peoples-Jones that you go towards as that flex position guy, all right? Right now, we'll just throw in DPJ right now. Let's see, Donovan Peoples-Jones, we'll throw him in there. Now, the next stack we'll go towards will be obviously the New Orleans Saints, okay? And going towards that team, they have a lot of weapons here, especially at that wide receiver position. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Rashid Shaheed all are explosive. If you see what they provided last week, 22 fantasy points, 11.1, and 20. Obviously, my favorite, because he's so cheap and so explosive. This man, he's dangerous. I think I wish guys would have really took him more seriously in fantasy. But he's going to be someone that's going to surprise guys at 4,200. If you want to get away from ownership, Rashid Shaheed at 4,200 can easily take a deep ball on any moment and take it all the way to the house. Obviously, we got the main guys here with Chris Olave and Michael Thomas. 7,200 if you want to pay up for him. He's going to be your target leader for the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, Chris Olave is a guy you will consider, but you got to figure out your pay structure here. If you pay up for Watson and Chubb, do we have enough for Chris Olave? Okay, that's going to be the huge question. So, I'll take Shaheed out here. We put Chris Olave. You still have enough to go tight end and defense. So that's fine right there. It's going to be chalk. So if you want to go a different route, that's why I'm leaning towards Rashid Shaheed. Guys that no one's really thinking about. With this 2-game slate, you can really afford majority of the number one wide receivers and make a lineup. But you got to be against the grain here. There's going to be 100,000 lineups. It's not going to go that way. I'm telling you that right now. So guys like Rashid Shaheed are going to step up. If you want to be a little bit contrarian, fade Chris Olave and go with Michael Thomas. He's getting just as much targets. He had 5 for 8 for 61. We'll see who's going to be that guy in the red zone, all right? But all of these guys, while they're healthy, very, very dangerous, especially going up against the Carolina Panthers secondary. That is out one of their number one corners, okay? If we want to bring it back on that Carolina side, I want to avoid coverage of Marquez Lattimore. So that's most likely going to be Adam Thielen, all right? DJ Shark is supposed to be back. We're waiting on news if he's going to fully play. So if we're down to pretty much Mingo, Marshall, and Shenault. Those are the 3 wide receivers you want to bring it back with Carolina. I think the better upside out of all of these guys would be Shenault. He's one of your gadget guys. He's the most explosive wide receiver that they have, just hands down. I think he's going to be right next to Calvin Austin and Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's going to be our favorite flex play here just because of the upside, all right? No one's going to go towards him. No one even knows Laviska Shenault. But if Carolina has a chance, they're going to need to play Miles Sanders and they're going to need to utilize Laviska Shenault as much as possible. He's a guy that can take any catch, any screen, and take it all the way to the house. They need to utilize him. He's in the ilk of a Deebo Samuel. That's how they're going to use him in this offense. And I like him in our lineups for the Monday Night Football slate. Pay attention to those guys like Keenan that are saving salary there. Do not just stick with the high wide receivers, all right? I'm telling you, that's not going to work. Now let's move on to the tight ends. All right, at the tight end position, we have David Njoku at the top. He's 4,700. He's not my favorite tight end on this slate. My two favorite tight ends on this slate is going to be Hayden Hurst at 4,000. He stepped up as a main target getter for this offense. I think he fits perfectly here with the Carolina Panthers. And usually the best friend to a rookie quarterback is a tight end. It's either the running back or the tight end. Something short, intermediate that they can rely upon each and every down. That is usually the running back and usually the tight end, especially where you got the Carolina Panthers, where they do not have a clear-cut, bona fide number one wide receiver. That's why I like Hayden Hurst. So if we're going to play the second favorite Carolina Panther would be Hayden Hurst at that tight end position at 4,000. My second favorite tight end on this slate is going to be Pat Freiermuth. He's back and healthy. He is the next best target getter on this offense. Once Deontay Johnson is out the picture, Pat Freiermuth is the number 2 target getter on this team, and that connection between Pat Freiermuth and Kenny Pickett is very, very relevant, all right? Hitting Pat Freiermuth down the seam has been something Kenny Pickett has done ever since he started last year. So I love Kenny Pickett. If you want to pay up a little bit more at that tight end spot, is 4,500. And then our third tight end will be Juwan Johnson. He has explosiveness, but that's if you really want to go heavy with the New Orleans Saints stack, which is very, very viable in this game, all right? So that's going to be our top 3 tight ends. You can go David Njoku if you want, but I'm just naming you my favorite 3. Hurst, Pat Freiermuth, and then Juwan Johnson. Last, I have David Njoku, all right? And for defenses, the defenses I like in this slate, we're going to stick to the top guys here. It's going to be the Saints defense here, going up against Carolina and a rookie quarterback. And it's going to be the Browns defense on the road. I like what I saw out of them, but they can put and apply pressure on Kenny Pickett in this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. They did not handle it very well last week against the 49ers. And now you're going up against a dynamic pass rush with the Cleveland Browns as well. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessNetSD. And guys, if you want winning bets for Sunday, sign up for that Patreon right now before kickoff starts.